Hello. Welcome to the Avoidance of Foreclosure and Eviction section of the Dodd-Frank Prep course brought to you by NHNLA. This is Unit 6A, Foreclosure Basics. What we will be discussing is the avoidance of and responses to rental and mortgage delinquency and avoidance of eviction and mortgage default. The items we will specifically discuss in this lesson is understanding the foreclosure process, workout options, retention and non-retention, FHA mortgage default assistance, making home affordable, also known as HAMP, CFPB rules, their loss mitigation process, and then finally we'll end with rental housing counseling. So in a crash overview course such as this one, we cannot comprehensively give you everything you need to know about the subject. The goal of this unit is actually not to prepare you as a housing counselor on how to counsel clients in foreclosure prevention. What our goal is with this course is to reiterate the key elements that a foreclosure prevention housing counseling would use and utilize while working with the client. Now, if after you've gone through this section and you feel, wow, you know, there's a lot more I need to know before I feel comfortable getting in front of a client and trying to help them out, that is totally fine. What we would highly, highly recommend, though, is that you take a class that's dedicated to training foreclosure prevention counselors, such as the NHNLA Foreclosure Counseling course, which is a 4-day course and very comprehensive. Now let's begin with section 6.1, understanding the foreclosure process. What is foreclosure? Foreclosure occurs when property is sold to satisfy an unpaid debt. The debt is often a home mortgage, but not necessarily. A foreclosure can happen for tax liens, mechanic liens, other debts. We've seen it happen for homeowners association, etc. So there are two different types of foreclosure. You can have judicial foreclosure and you can have non-judicial foreclosure. All states allow judicial foreclosure. However, in just under about half, mortgages or deeds of trust always must be foreclosed judicially. So let's talk a little bit about a judicial foreclosure. Typically, a judicial foreclosure goes through the following steps after default. There's the filing of a complaint, there's the service of that complaint to the homeowner, a period of time to respond to that complaint that's required, a hearing of the sufficiency of the complaint. There may be a date set for the redemption process, a date set for the sale of the home, the actual sale conducted by a public officer, and then finally, confirmation of that sale. And then the non-judicial foreclosure, a little simpler, as you will see here. You'll have the notice of default is filed. That begins the foreclosure process in a non-judicial foreclosure. And then you have the notice of trustee sale. Now that's usually about 90 days from that original notice. And that announces the pending sale of the property. And then finally, the sale of the property at a public auction, which can happen 21 days after that notice of trustee sale. So when you look at it all together, a non-judicial foreclosure from start to finish can be 112 days. Here we can see a map of judicial and non-judicial states. So take just a quick second, pick out your state so that way you'll know what's required in your state. And if most of you have been doing housing counseling, which I'm presuming you have, you'll know that already. But if there are any new people who are just getting started, make a note of that. One quick thing I want to point out is, I don't know if you caught that, but earlier in the earlier slide I mentioned that all states allow judicial foreclosure. But why? Why would a state want to do a judicial foreclosure that can take anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. When they're allowed to do a non-judicial foreclosure, which could only take 112 days. Well, there's a couple reasons for that. If there's an issue with the title, they need to get clear title. If they need to obtain a deficiency judgment, or if for some reason the mortgage doesn't have a power of sale clause, then they have to foreclose judicially. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. Now, eviction. After the foreclosure sale, confirmation of the sale, or expiration of the redemption period, whichever's latest, the borrower loses all legal interest in the home. Most non-judicial states require a separate eviction action, but in some judicial states, this particular part comes in with the foreclosure proceeding itself, so it doesn't require a separate action.